The activity of engaging in what I call earth prayers involves finding myself in a deep state of need and not knowing how to answer that need. I go out into nature and I try to ask the question and seek the consult of all of nature's many varied forces and beings. Often teams, though, as I walk in nature I first need to shake off all the stressors that seem to initially cling to me. Clearly, when I first enter nature after a long time away, I need to unwind first and let my mind, body and spirit sigh and relax, because they are often still tied to and encumbered by many of life's demands, questions, issues and ongoing fears. These things seem to want to perpetually and relentlessly pull and yank at my heart and mind. Thankfully, I find that using my senses I can pull myself out of that spinning vortex of thoughts and come to witness the simplistic complexities of nature and the endearing moments that nature provides. I also find that I can witness so much beauty along the way when I am free from all of the psychological drama. When I trust my desires and follow my path of my own personal attractions, the questions I am asking about life seem to be answered by the things I see before me, although it takes interpreting these things metaphorically. I often also feel blissfully empathetically embraced and among a kindred atmosphere. It is neat that the answers are displayed through the way trees and plants live, or the way rocks stand still, or the way a stream flows through a riverway. Each life is overtly living and showing us their ways without hiding, and we can take such wisdom from their openness of being. In wild green spaces and non-human ecosystems, everything interacts with everything else and the whole earth sings with interconnectivity. Creatures, trees, plants, light, water and other forces seen and unseen are all alive and open to sharing their blossoming joys and most tragic sorrows openly. When I engage in earth prayers, I intentionally use as many of my senses as I can conjure. I see many wonders like fluttering leaves, soaring clouds and delicately wise living creatures. When I open my skin to the subtleties of wind and weather, I feel the brushes of heat and cool and feel the droplets of rain dew upon my skin. Each interaction reminds me that I am not alone here on this planet, and that many forces and beings each play a role in shaping our mutual current reality. It also reminds me to have empathy, realizing that we are all hoping to find our own slice of heaven, each one of us, whether rock or tree, plant or person, we are all in a state of being. This can encompass the whole of the universe if we broaden our vision more openly. I also saw the importance of trying to rejoin into the cooperative whole, and what a difference it can make when we consider the well-being of others as well equal to our own need for well-being. Ideally, balancing out our individual and mutual needs helps us to coexist organically in relative states of peace. In other words, we have come to an understanding between us, the outdoor world and humanity, that we are all sharing and accessing the same pool of available energy, space and stakes in attractions. Therefore, we come to understand that we each have the right to reach for what feels good for each of us when striving to experience the beauty way. When we observe and honor the needs of others, we take only what we need and we let others live in their own blissful ways organically without unnecessary disturbances, then we are then coexisting organically. Retreating to serene natural places can also return to us a greatly needed sense of fluidity. It helps me to know that if I remain in stillness, life and time and even my wants and needs and timeline for the pursuit of living will eventually pass. Within a natural green space, this sense of fluidity is more apparent to me. If I am settled enough, the world carries me without me needing to carry everything on my shoulders individually. As I consider the ways that people interact in human communities as compared to how nature cooperates and behaves, I sometimes find that I feel safer in nature. I almost feel more assured that I will be okay and I am allowed to just be, which is different from the expectations of human society, wherein value has to be asserted to assure we are allotted resources and afforded commendations related to our validity. This reflective state of respite offers me such a feeling of relief, beauty and peace. Something charming happens too when I remain open and curious while amidst nature. I find that after a while the plants and animals and forces of nature all begin to conduct the activities of their daily lives in the ways that are most natural to them, almost as if they assimilated me into their life equation. While observing their actions, they teach me in wordless ways they have found or have been taught to survive. I get to see alternative ways of navigating this lived experience, and this broader perspective helps me to feel like I am a part of something much bigger than myself. I am a welcomed part of a broadly diverse organic community. The act of witnessing the daily lives and roles of plants and animals and their interactions helps me to see that there are countless different ways that Earth manifests life and manages to cope with challenges, issues and concerns along this life pathway. Once I get to this calmed, welcomed and receptive space of mind, body and spirit, I officially begin the act of what I call Earth Prayers. I approach nature softly, gently and in honoring ways. Through a simple initial request, I seek permission to visit nature and I ask for the opportunity to observe any guidance, messages or beneficial knowledge that nature might provide me. I try to be very aware and sensitive when asking for guidance, rather than demanding answers. This helps me to break from my human-like tendency to feel entitled to ownership of everything in nature that I see. I also try to remain openly sensitive and radiantly grateful toward all the beings I encounter, allowing them to take the lead as my mentors and guides, while it feels right for us each. I recognize that though they do not have the same mechanisms to communicate or the same ways of living or exuding intelligence, there is a deep wisdom in each life form I encounter. I am so humbled when I am granted the chance to witness their lived experiences, and these Earth Prayers help me to expand upon my understanding of reality. This often evokes emotions, and as I perceive new ways of behaving and emotional responses to the tremendous wisdom of the natural world and its ways in the simplest form possible, I also tend to recognize that each thing is a manifestation of the divine, all of nature, including people. In a sense, I am asking or praying for answers and hoping to sensitively receive whatever I am meet to observe along the way thereafter. During these experiences, I wander wherever I feel lovingly attracted moment by moment, opening my senses, observing what I am being taught and awaiting epiphanies. When I feel some potent emotional response to a plant, animal, rock, force of nature or way of life, then I feel perhaps a personalized message has been received. I note that each encounter has a story to tell, and the lives and tales and stories that are openly available for me to view all around me teaches me through the behaviors, actions, stillness or other tendencies. Although these messages are never delivered in verbal ways, they share with me the ways they have adapted to mutually coexisting and experiencing life. It feels like a blessing to me to open myself to their wisdom and knowledge. Once I have received messages from nature, I try to express gratitude for being welcomed into a green space. I try to remain open to the guidance and messages available for me when I observe and interact with the space, and honestly, depending on where I go to consult, the answers are sometimes gently delivered and sometimes imparted through tough love. I also find that while I am amidst that natural green space, I became a part of nature itself, which is very humbling and honoring. Many times, it feels that I am returning to my native origins as a human being. It is poetic to see how all of us as living beings are creating the moments we experience through our interactions and interrelationships in those moments. I too am actively living among them in what is truly our natural environment. For example, when I breathe, I recognize how when I expel carbon dioxide and the trees expel oxygen, and we give each other what we need through a symbiotic relationship with each other. We give and take what we each need from the same wind that permeates all things. The same water that fills the waves in the sea across the surface of the earth is unfathomably and intimately interconnected to the water that is contained inside you and me, therefore allowing us to function and continue to be. The fire of the sun, which bathes us with light and life-giving energy, also sparks a complex array of ever-emitting alchemic energy within us. If we ponder the truth hard, we can come to realize that circumstantially we only exist because the sun is so potently furious and unsettled. Yet, none of us could withstand the fullness of its rays without the bubble of Earth's protective barrier embracing us within. It just works out that we are just where we need to be. Essentially, we are all a part of a much larger closed system of exchanged energy. It is in this tumbling embrace of earth, sky, sun, wind and sea all energies meet and are exchanged in tumultuously loving ways to allow each of us to be. There are so many ways that cooperative energy meets other cooperative energy in this symbiotic and delicate dance of reality. Yet, the beauty is that the symbiosis of living allows everyone in the process to feel free to be themselves wholly and authentically and to follow their own beauty ways independently. Because we each find our own ways of singing our unique songs of life, the earth is full of lessons awaiting us in the symphony of being and our own way of experiencing the beauty way. After I spend some preliminary time in nature, I tend to see that answers appear to me. These answers often tend to flow through me in the form of poetry. Below I have shared some outcome of various earth prayer that resulted in poems. Each depict lessons I learned through this settled and unobtrusive observation of how the wild things in nature cope with their own survival challenges and other answers that reveal themselves through the experiences. I have received so many blessings through conversations with and observations of the many wise natural beings around me, including the trees, bushes, birds, sky and sea, that I feel largely immeasurably blessed by these experiences. I truly welcome you to engage in the process of saying or experiencing your own earth prayers if it feels right to embark on this journey too.